Hi, this is Kelly,
And Simone.
and we did an early childhood brain-based annotated bibliography. We broke our information up based on age, and we're not going to talk about each article that we read or each book we read, but we will talk about one from each slide. So the first one I'm going to speak about is the Love and Logic book for parenting, and this book can be used by educators as well. Its main purpose is to give ideas and strategies for handling different issues, and it talks mainly about giving logical consequences, and that helps kids develop critical thinking skills and helps them have opportunities to make choices and think through their problems. Now we're moving on to the toddler age. This next one that I'm going to speak about was actually a TED Talk video I found, and it's by Bruce Perry, who's a psychologist, and the title of it was Early Childhood Brain Development. And he talked about how to work with children with brain trauma, and he was really focusing on the need for affection and how children need love and affection early on, and how he's finding that sometimes when the kids do not have that or receive that from their parents, they can suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. So he just really emphasizes the need for the love and affection, and unfortunately we can't change the way the homes are that our kids come from, but we can give them that safe, nurturing environment in our classroom. The next section we're going to talk about deals with preschool primary, which are ages 3 through 8. The creators of the thinking maps made these graphic organizers that help students just organize their thoughts. I use them as a first grade teacher, a preschool teacher, and I currently use them in my second grade class. And they actually are used throughout the grade levels. It helps students with their retention, and the students really enjoy using these maps to help organize their thoughts. Another resource we found, or we know about, is Jack Hartman. He is a children's songwriter and performer, and the students love listening to his CDs. He creates different CDs and DVDs based on various skills for children. He has math songs and alphabet songs and literacy songs to help kids just learn these skills, and the children love using it. When I worked as a preschool teacher, we had him come to our preschool every year, and he is a great entertainer for the kids, and they love seeing him perform. And we know that using music in the class also helps with the retention. I read an article about play deprivation that's happening in the school setting, and this author looked at, I think, 68 kindergarten classrooms and used the Eckers to determine how much play was being used in the classroom. And she found that many, almost half of the classes were not having adequate amount of playtime. She then went and discussed the problems that you can have from that, which are students not having as much problem-solving skills. They don't know how to work on their social skills. They don't have as much muscle and brain development, and sometimes they become very aggressive, and even later in life start to commit crimes.
This is Simone, and I am going to wrap up our bibliography. I'm going to talk about alligators and zebras, which are whole language activities for the primary grades. These are based on thematic units, which in the D'Souza book, thematic units help develop brain development. So with this book, it talks about each letter of the alphabet and how to incorporate it into all subject areas when teaching. Next is a DVD called Trauma, Brain, and Relationships, Helping Children Heal. And this video focuses on emotional trauma of children. For example, if they have an immediate family member pass away, like a mother, father, or grandmother, the trauma that the child goes through at that time and what they experience. How can we help the child through the trauma while they're in school to make sure that they're keep their grades up and that the trauma that they've experienced hasn't hindered them so bad emotionally that they cannot go on with their life. And I've seen this a lot as a guidance counselor because I have had children whose parents have killed themselves or have actually died in front of the child, and they have been successful by seeing grief counselors, and that has helped them immensely. Next, this is called Look Before You Leap, Concerns about Brain-Based Products and Approaches. This basically is a warning for educators and caregivers not to jump on the bandwagon with every single product that says it's brain-based, because it may not be brain-based and it may not have any research that says that it's brain-based. So when evaluating products to use in the classroom or in a child care facility, or even if you're a parent, you need to make sure that the product is truly scientifically based and that it is truly brain-based, because sometimes products put that on there so you purchase them even when they're really not. Next, we have a book called Alternative Approaches to Assessing Young Children, and this book is for educators working with children from birth to 8 years old. In daycare facilities, children have to be evaluated typically 3 times a year. Preschool children have to be evaluated 3 times a year. And this comes from either the Office of Early Learning at the state level, Department of Children and Families, or the Office of Early Learning. Next, the school system requires teachers to evaluate children at least 3 times a year, if not more. They use the discovery test at the school I'm at. They also use reading inventories. They use accelerated reader. There's a lot of different assessments. But I think this book helps because it talks about other assessments that you can use. For example, one is a portfolio, which my teachers have to create a portfolio showing what they have done throughout the year, key points. This can either be created on the computer or they can make like a scrapbook. It is purely up to them. And then at the end of the year, they come to me after I've observed them a couple times, and then they show me their portfolio and what they have done throughout the year. This is my opinion, a great tool to use. Plus, it shows some of the valuable things that you may miss as an evaluator in the classroom, because you can't be in there at all times. You can actually see what they are doing throughout the year. You can also show this to parents who may want to know what their child is learning. Lastly, Kelly and I thought we should include the Sousa book, How the Brain Learns. And I know everybody has read this book, so I'm not going to go into great detail. But the one thing that we both liked about the book was after each chapter, the author includes several practitioners' corners. And these really help, especially in the classroom. I would like to buy it for all 3 of my teachers at the preschool, because I think this book has valuable information about how the brain learns. And I think sometimes as teachers, we forget how the brain learns because we're so worried about the standards and assessments and all these other things that we don't see how each child's brain learns differently, and each child learns differently, and we need to pay a closer attention to that and how we are teaching the children in the classroom. Thank you very much.